The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I want to share this with you. I'll never forget. I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 17 years ago. I was sitting in the Bet Midrash of the Murray Yeshiva one night, right before the summer. And I'll never forget that the word got out that there was a girls' school, or maybe it was a camp, from Borough Park that went upstate to Bear Mountains, and they went hiking. And that evening, when they went to round up all the girls, they realized that there was one girl, a Friedman girl, who was missing, who got split up from her group, and she was lost in the forests. She was lost in Bear Mountains. Wow, what a tragedy. At that moment, some people said that they realized that there were goyim there, and suddenly people thought maybe the girl was kidnapped, and who knows what could happen to her. And the word hit Flatbush. And at that moment, Hatzalah jumped, and Shomrim and everybody else out there got into their cars, and they drove up 2.5 hours to Bear Mountains where this girl was supposedly missing. I was sitting in Bet Midrash in Murray Yeshiva that night at about 11 o'clock, and the words hit the Bet Midrash. And Rav Shmuel Birnbaum, Zechet Tzadik Libracha, the Rosh HaYeshiva of Mir, he told everybody, now's not the time to sit and learn. Close the Gemarot. Everybody out. Go find that girl. Now, my friends, those of you who knew Rav Shmuel Birnbaum Zatzal, he was known as the Matmid of America. He never closed the Gemara. For him to say to the entire Midrash, everyone out, go look for that girl. You don't understand what we're talking about. There were buses lined up on the outside of Murray Yeshiva. Everyone went running outside. They piled into these buses. The buses made their way out to Borough Park, where there were another 20 or 30 coach buses. Guys from Torah Vadat, guys from Chaim Berlin, Balei Batim driving behind in their cars. This was already midnight. Thousands of people, because one of our girls were missing out in Bear Mountains. I remember when I got on that coach bus, maybe the bus held 50 people. There must have been close to 100 guys on that bus. And this wasn't a 10-minute trip. This was a few hours going up the mountains, the Bear Mountains. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, where are we going to sit? Where are we going to fit? After 20 minutes of that ride, I could tell you myself and many of the guys, we went to sleep on the floor of the bus, underneath the seats. We had guys' feet literally sitting on us, and we sat like that for almost 3 hours till we got upstate, but it didn't matter. That's a Bat Yisrael out there. That's one of ours, and we're going to go out and find Am Yisrael. Me, myself, personally, I said to myself, I'm a Levi, and Hine, one of our girls are in trouble. Shimon v'Levi Achim. We got to go out. And we went out. And I want to try to share with you the scene. When those buses pulled up, we got off the buses. There must have been about 4,000 to 5,000 volunteers, all from different parts of Flatbush, Borough Park, Queens, the 5 towns, Far Rockaway. There was every type of Jew that ever walked the face of the earth in that crowd. There was Hatzalah. There was Shomrim, Mitaskim, whoever was there of every community. Kolel guys, Bachurim, Balei Batim, religious, not religious, SY, everyone was there, including the FBI. And I remember the head of the FBI came up and briefed us, and he told us, okay, you guys, it's about to be sunset. I understand that you have to pray. Right after prayer, we're going to show you guys how to make a human chain, and we're going to show you how to do a manhunt, where you're going to hold hands together, thousands of volunteers. And when he blows the whistle, we're all going to walk through the forest, step by step, combing literally hundreds of yards of forest at a time, only to release the hand of the guy next to you when it comes up to a tree or something in your way. Then again, you grip hands, and don't break the chain. After we were briefed by the FBI, everyone sat down, took out their tefillin, that's all they had with them, and they began to pray Vatikin. And everyone's tefillah was one tefillah, that Vatikin. Borei Olam, let us find this girl. She's a Bat Yisrael, for heaven's sake, let us find her. And after tefillah, we were about to get started. I gotta tell you this. We hear a rumbling coming up the road on the side of this mountain in Bear Mountains. We turn around, and we see that there were 10 trucks that just drove up in a line, and the trucks pull up, and in front of everybody, The drivers jump out, 10 Hasidi guys, and they scream, Yalla Chevre, come eat breakfast before you go out. They opened up these trucks. I am telling you, there was enough food there to feed an army for a year. I never in my life have seen so many tradition soups. I didn't think they made them that many. We're talking thousands. Every type of soup, every type of cupcake, every type of cake, kokosh cake, anything that was in the supermarkets of Borough Park, they piled into these trucks. There must have been about $50,000 of food, and they brought it up to the volunteers. Ashrecha Yisrael, mi chamocha. You had to see the look on the head of the FBI at that moment when those trucks pulled up. He couldn't believe his eyes. He never saw something like this before. Who are these people? These people are amazing. Everyone ran up to the trucks. They started pulling off all different types of cakes and chocolate milks. And they had a whole breakfast. And now everybody was ready and we were strong. We came to the curb, to the tip and the edge of the forest. And together we held hands, just as the FBI instructed. And we were waiting for the head of the FBI to blow the whistle. At that moment, I want you to feel this with me. I looked to the right and I saw a human chain of Am Yisrael as far as my eye can see. I looked to the left and I saw again a human chain of thousands of guys as far as the eye can see. And we're all standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, holding hands, ready to walk into that forest because one of our girls are missing. And it's amazing. You had to see it. I looked at that line of people. The guy next to me happened to have been a Hatzalah member from Queens. And the guy next to him was a Bachur from the Mir Yeshiva. And the guy next to him was a working guy from Flatbush who left his family in the middle of the night to come save this girl. And next to him was a guy from the community. And next to him was a non-religious guy. And next to him was a guy from Queens. Every type of Jew was there on that line, holding hands. And it made no difference to us, our differences. All that made the difference was this girl, Bat Yisrael. And at that moment, the head of the FBI blew the whistle, and we took the first step. And right after we took the first step, the FBI blew the whistle again, and we all stopped. And we looked at him. What happened? We took only one step. And we see that he's talking in on his radio, and he looks back at the thousands of volunteers, and he's waving his hands, and he says, 1 second, we might have news. And he walks off. And I tell you, those 30 seconds felt like a year. He comes back, and he looks at everybody, and he gives a scream. Everybody! The girl was found! I am telling you, there was such a kol ra'ash gadol, such a scream at that minute of thousands of people screaming and yelling. We were already holding hands. What do you think happened at that moment? Everyone jumped out of the forest, holding hands together, and there was a circle of dancing comprised of about 3,000 volunteers singing on the top of their lungs, Hazdeh Hashem kilotamnu kilochalu rachamav. I thought at that moment Mashiach was going to come. Every type of different Jew holding hands, dancing together. It made no difference to us. Anything in the world but that this wonderful Bat Yisrael, our girl, was found. What a moment. What achdut. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael. This achdut, this tremendous love that binds us and brings us together at these terrible moments of tragedy. It doesn't matter anymore where we come from. It doesn't matter anymore what our last name is, what passport we hold in our pocket, who we are or where we come from. Today we're Am Yisrael in Galut that needs an achdut to get out of this Galut. We're going to fix finally the Sinat Hinam. And it's not going to be the whistle blowing of the FBI that we're going to hear. It's going to be the blowing of shofar of Melech HaMashiach. Finally be brought back to where we belong, to our loving Father, Avinu Shebashamayim.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org